He did not lose his freedom at the end. He surrendered it the moment survival taught him what wanting would cost. The loss began before he understood its shape. A boy of small birth stood inside Riverrun's walls, fed and trained, but never claimed. Peter Baelish watched Brandon Stark move through the yard as if the ground itself agreed with him. He watched Catelyn Tully smile at a future already arranged. No one struck him. What was taken was quieter. Belonging hovered close enough to see and far enough to deny. From that denial, desire stopped being safe. It became something that could injure him. The injury arrived with steel. He challenged Brandon with a sword too heavy for his frame and a faith too large for his place. The fight ended almost immediately. Bone cracked, blood soaked dirt. His body failed while his hope was still upright. What he lost was not pride. It was the belief that courage could negotiate status. Lying broken, he learned that effort meant nothing without permission. The bed confined him. Catelyn's future moved forward untouched by his pain. When Brandon died later, reckless and remembered, the contrast cut deeper than the blade had. The loss was motion. Others could stumble and still matter. He could bleed and still be invisible. Meaning formed slowly. Survival would require movement that did not ask. Leaving Riverrun did not feel like exile. It felt like clarity. The road offered no miracles. Inns, offices, numbers. He was given small authority over tolls and coin. The work was dull, precise, unnoticed. He learned where money lingered, where it vanished, and who pretended not to see either. The damage here was subtle. Each calculation replaced a feeling. Each quiet success rewarded distance. He learned that power worked best when it could not be pointed at. When he entered the capital, he did not announce ambition. He listened. He placed words where silence had been. He traded information like currency because it never stayed in one hand long enough to stain. Each favor cost something small. A truth bent. A loyalty delayed. Nothing felt fatal. But each transaction removed another option. He was no longer free to speak plainly. Plain speech carried risk. Catelyn returned to him as a memory given flesh. She saw him as he had been allowed to be for a moment, not as he had learned to survive. He let her believe it. He offered help wrapped in familiarity. The dagger changed hands. A lie traveled faster than any rider. When it was accepted, the damage was immediate. Truth lost its weight. Meaning followed without comfort. If lies worked, honesty became indulgence. His schemes multiplied without escalation. A whisper here, a promise there. Houses shifted, blamed each other, bled. He did not revel in it. Stillness began to feel like danger. Each success trained him to step closer to fire, not away from it. The loss was retreat. He no longer recognized safety unless it was earned through motion. Offers came that could have ended the chase. Titles, land, stability framed as reward. Each required him to stop manipulating the terms that protected him. He accepted them and hollowed them out. Power that demanded restraint felt like another river run. The damage accumulated. Trust thinned. He learned that dependence created exposure, and exposure resembled childhood. In the throne room, he believed invisibility had finally paid off. A king fell through careful distance, through others' hands. The room shifted. Eyes turned. The loss arrived before celebration could form. He was seen. Meaning struck cleanly. Being seen without being shielded was not freedom. It was a narrowing. He moved to the Vale seeking cleaner lines, fewer players. He reshaped himself again, this time as guardian, instructor. He taught a girl how to survive by teaching her how to hide. Each lesson removed something from both of them. Warmth thinned. Trust learned to look like caution. In teaching defense, he trained recognition. The loss passed forward. When the chance appeared to remain in shadow, he refused it. Retreat would have admitted that motion had never been escape, only habit. He chose proximity over absence. The damage was final flexibility. He became predictable because he could no longer leave the stage. Winterfell did not receive him with fear. It measured him. Words failed. Promises echoed without weight. Authority drained from the room. The loss was immediate and physical. Meaning emerged without mercy. A man who survives by being underestimated cannot survive once fully known. His voice tried to adjust before his body understood what had changed. He spoke as if leverage still existed. Names, favors, promises of alignment. The room did not interrupt him. That silence was the damage. No one rushed to contradict him because no one needed to. The loss was time. Words that once bought delay now landed after decisions had already formed. Meaning followed with quiet precision. Language stops working when trust has already evacuated. He reached for Sansa not as a shield, but as proof. He recited what he had given her: shelter, instruction, survival. She did not deny it. Each lesson spoken aloud stripped it of intimacy. The immediate damage was recognition. What he had taught to protect himself had trained others to see him clearly. From that exposure came a meaning he could not revise. Influence that depends on secrecy collapses when its students graduate. The charges were not dramatic. They were specific, each tied to an event he had treated as disposable. A whisper here, a knife passed there. Small actions stacked without pause. The loss was scale. He had believed no single moment defined him. The room proved otherwise. Accumulation had become identity. Meaning arrived without philosophy. Survival strategies leave records even when no one intends them to. He knelt because standing offered nothing. The floor felt colder than expected. Not because it was stone, but because no one moved to meet him there. He asked for mercy using the language of bargains. The damage sharpened. Mercy requires relationship. He had spent his life dissolving those. Meaning emerged with brutal clarity. You cannot negotiate with people you trained not to feel for you. He searched faces for an opening and found none. Not hatred, not triumph. Assessment. The same look he had practiced for years was now turned toward him. The loss was mirroring. Everything he had used to stay alive was now reflected back without distortion. From that reflection came the truth he had avoided. Control teaches others how to remove you. The blade moved with no flourish. There was no speech to answer, no final exchange. His body understood before his mind finished reaching. The damage was final and immediate. Motion stopped. The meaning did not arrive for him. It arrived for the story he left behind. Peter Baelish did not fail because he wanted too much. He failed because wanting taught him to. Every step he took narrowed the ground beneath him. Every escape required another lever. Every lever trained someone else how to pull it. He mistook movement for choice. He mistook survival for freedom. He had learned early that stopping meant disappearing, so he never stopped. And in never stopping, he ensured there would be no place left to stand.